up, guys? Alex Scott here with Consordini.com. Welcome to another super cool gear review, and I have a really awesome piece of kit that I would love to talk to you guys about today. This is the Line 6 Variax Standard. Now, the Variax line from Line 6 has been around for quite a while now. It started with kind of the first version of guitars that they released with this feature set, which featured no pickups, their own kind of original body design. They were being manufactured overseas for Line 6. Those guitars were very, very cool, but Line 6 thought to themselves, hey, I bet we can even do a little bit better. And so they re-engineered the whole thing from the ground up and have come back with these new guitars known as the Standard. They do have a few other lines of Variax as well. If you go to their website, you can see the full lineup. They have a few signature models, a few different body shapes and styles, but they have a lot of options for you to choose from. So what exactly is a Variax? Well, the Variax is an incredibly advanced, not complex necessarily, but a really, really powerful tool, especially for studio players like myself. So as you can see, I'm here in my home studio. A lot of what I do here is not only record production with local artists here in Colorado, but also, you know, a lot of like commercial music. So music for films, music for video games, music for television, for radio advertisements, all that kind of stuff. And so it's important for me to be able to pull up a variety of tones really quickly and really easily. Now, if you're budget conscious like myself, that can mean buying a whole lot of guitars, and that's not exactly the cheapest thing to be able to do. If I'm doing a metal project the one day, so I need something like an Ibanez Prestige or a Les Paul, and then the next day I'm doing something jazzy where I might need a 335, hollow body of some kind. The day after that I might be doing a country tune, so I'd like a Telecaster or something in that vein, and then maybe even some acoustic instruments like a dobro or a resonator guitar, a banjo, anything like that. And obviously that's a ton of instruments to own and quite expensive to get set up, requires a lot of storage space. So the Variax solves this problem by incorporating a modeling system into the guitar itself. So if we take a look at the back, you'll see there's a few more covers here than we're used to seeing on your typical instrument. Obviously, you know, we've got our space for the tremolo and, you know, strings and all that stuff. But here we have a lithium-ion battery pack. And then here we have an access to what is basically a microprocessor that lives inside of the guitar and permanently does modeling, okay? So on its own, you don't need the battery for this instrument to make noise. It's kind of set up like a Strat, and the guitars themselves are actually built by Yamaha, by the way, so you know they're going to be a great quality instrument to begin with. But it's designed to basically be set up like a Strat. You've got your 3 single coil pickups, 5-way selector switch, volume, and tone. Classic Strat setup, and it gives you all your classic Strat tones. Neck. Okay, everything you would expect out of a Strat, of course. Tone knob as well. But where the fun really starts is when we hit our knob here and we go into some of our modeling options. So once you hit this knob, and you can see it lights up kind of pink, if you can see that in the camera there, to let you know that the modeling system is engaged. Now what would normally be your pickup position or pickup selector switch turns into your modeling selector switch. So the first category we have is T model. I'll let you guess what that is. It's Telecasters. And you have a variety of different specific models of Telecasters at different pickup positions. Now, the list of actual guitars and pickup combinations that this thing can do goes into the hundreds, literally, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time detailing each one, but you have a variety of really high quality Telecaster models. So those would be some neck positions. positions. And by the way, just so you guys know, we are tracking all of this audio right now through my Ignitor tweaker head, 20-watt head through an Ignitor 112 combo. The amp is set totally flat. Clean tone, bass, mid, treble, all straight noon, master gain, all at straight noon. This is a very neutral amp tone. And then we're going straight into this tube preamp back here into my recording system. So you're really just hearing pretty much exactly what you would hear when you plug your guitar into your own amp, or when you plug a Variax into your own amp. So that's your Telecasters for you. The next modeling bank is called Spank. Again, wonder what that could be. Spank obviously being more Telecasters. I believe this one is like a 60s, or Stratocaster, excuse me. I believe this one is like a 60s Strat model. And then as we keep moving through, we've got Lester. And Lester, Les Paul, in a variety of different combinations. Moving on from there, we have Special, which Special is a little bit more varied. So I believe in Special we have like a Thunderbird model, a Jaguar model, I believe, a few more kind of unusual guitars. Moving on, we've got Rockabilly, which emulates a series of great classic Gretsch hollow body guitars. And it really does just an incredible job of modeling these. I mean, you can really hear that kind of dark, that real dark hollow body sound in there. Chime is a variety of Rickenbackers. And we can start getting into some really fun stuff because it also does 12 strings. So there's a few Rickenbacker electric 12-string models in here for that real kind of early Beatles sound. Moving on, we have Semi, which is semi-hollows, so this is where all your 335 stuff lives. Roll that tone knob off, get some great... some great classic jazz tones in there. Moving on, we also have Jazz Box, which is more like a Gibson ES 125 type sound. Again, great for classic jazz players. Okay. And now for the next bank of tones, I'm actually going to stop real quick and connect this directly to an interface, because this is where this guitar gets really incredible. Obviously, it can emulate a wide variety of electrics, but the next two categories are acoustic and Rezo, okay? And so they have a variety of Martin acoustics, Taylor acoustics, acoustic 12 strings, dobro, banjo, sitar, even all kinds of cool stuff. So let's go ahead and switch over to a DI signal, and then I will show you guys what those sounds are all about. Okay guys, so we have reset up a little bit. I'm no longer running through the Ignitor tweaker. Now I am running direct from the guitar into my Audient ASP800, which is an 8-channel preamp featuring extremely clean, fast, transparent preamps. So what you're hearing now is literally what's coming directly out of the guitar. No amp, no other signal processing of any kind, EQ compression, none of that. This is exactly what's coming out of the guitar. So in our acoustic bank, things really start to get pretty crazy. We have a whole complement of different amazing acoustic guitars. Martin, even a 12-string or two. Okay, and then the other really cool thing here is that your tone knob becomes a mic placement control knob. This is just so crazy to me. As you move your tone knob around, it actually mimics, it simulates inside the guitar what it would be like if you were moving, say, a pencil condenser or something like that around the instrument. So here might be at the 12th fret where it's nice and open, and then as you move it, mic might move a little bit more towards the sound hole, so you can hear the sound is a little boomier, as opposed to that 12th fret position. So somebody, for myself, who's not only a musician but also a recording engineer and producer, this is a really amazing tool to have, because when you're in a studio, depending on how you mic an instrument, greatly affects the tone. And that's actually, not only do we have the ability to have an acoustic and an electric body that's easy to record, we can actually mess with that mic placement a little bit, or a simulation of it at least. Another 12-string model there. Now, the final bank of sounds that this thing models is actually, weirdly, my favorite. It's resonator instruments. So we have a National Tricone resonator, we've got a banjo in here. And that just sounds so high quality to me, man. I mean, it really sounds realistic. You know, if you're a real seasoned guitar player, obviously it's not exactly the same. But what, you know, for somebody like me who does so much recording, and I really, you know, I might use a dobro sound only a few times a year, but I could either go out and spend $400, $500, $600, $1,000 on a dobro that I'm never going to touch, or I can buy one of these guys, and it might not be the world's most authentic sound, but you hear it and you can definitely tell what it is. You know, it sounds like, you know, a resonator guitar that's been pretty well recorded. So it lets me have this tonal palette that I normally would never, ever be able to have. Second position here. It's a banjo. Lets you play stuff you would never be able to play on a real banjo. This third bank here is a Dan Electro Longhorn, which actually works in conjunction with another feature I'll go into here in a second. Now, the fourth sound is one of my favorites. An electric sitar. So if you're a fan of some of that kind of late 60s psychedelic rock, or like Steely Dan, the sound always makes me think of Do It Again, the solo on Do It Again, the great Steely Dan track. And you can, with the tone knob on this particular model, take out the resonator strings. Bring them back in. How cool is that? So that's a fabulous one. And then the last one is another kind of resonator type guitar. Again, really great and authentic sounding. So those are all of the models themselves, but we are not quite done yet. This thing is just constantly full of surprises. We still have not touched this other knob down here. What this knob does digitally retunes your guitar, which is really, really, really cool. So we can have our standard tuning with one turn of a knob. Suddenly we're in drop D. Half step down across the board. Okay, so those are all of the different kind of guitar models that this thing can do. But that's not actually where it ends. We have a whole other knob here that we haven't even taken a look at yet, and that is a tuning knob. Not this kind of tuning knob, it is actually a digital tuning solution. So, if we pull up our nice kind of resonator sound here, one twist of a knob and suddenly we're in drop D. It's really, really impressive that it can do this in real time with almost zero latency. We also have half step down, right? We can go all the way down to drop D flat, okay? We have a full step down all the way across the guitar, and then we have some kind of resonator style tunings, which is why I usually use it in conjunction with these resonator and acoustic sounds with dadgad. open D with that, you know, your G tuned down to an F sharp. We have blues G, rezzo G, which is the traditional tuning for a dobro. Open A, and then we can even go all the way down to baritone, which if we switch over to the Dan Electro Longhorn, can give us that really, really deep tone. So if you dig tunes like Coyote by Joni Mitchell, very famous for having a kind of a baritone guitar on it, and it's really convincing. It is a little bit unusual using these tunings because the actual tuning of the strings doesn't change, so you might actually be able to hear it through my microphone in the room here. As you're playing, you're still playing stuff, you know, kind of that would normally not really make any sense on a standard tuning guitar, and you can hear that. So if you are using these alternate tunings, it helps to either be on stage and plugged into an amp where you're not going to be able to hear your strings acoustically, or if you're in the studio, just stick on a pair of headphones, and that alleviates the problem pretty immediately. But one advantage that it actually kind of has is that sometimes if you tune all the way down to, say, like, you know, drop D flat, where your whole guitar is a half step down and then your lowest E string is 3 half steps down, the strings can get really slack and it makes the instrument a little bit tricky to play. So having this feature actually allows you to access some of those alternate tunings without having those really slack, loose, kind of buzzy strings going on. It still feels like a normal guitar. So again, especially if you're any kind of recording artist or producer working in the studio a lot, it's really amazing to just be able to, oh, I don't know, I feel like playing a dobro in DADGAD tuning. Now, create your next track for your little country tune, standard tuning, Telecaster, bridge position. Obviously, we're not going through the amp anymore, so that just sounds dry. But the ability to kind of hot swap between all these different guitar models is just, especially from a producer or recording guy's standpoint, it's amazing. And with how good the models sound, oh man, it's fabulous. Okay guys, so there is a quick overview of the Line 6 Variax Standard for you guys. This thing just blows me away every single time I pick it up. The variety of sounds that you can get out of it, the authenticity of the sounds that you can get out of it, it's just incredible what they've been able to do here. I have a veritable stable of guitars at my disposal at any time. If I need vintage Strats, vintage Tellys, all these different acoustic instruments, it's really just opened up my ability to produce different kinds of music, especially when it comes to the acoustic models. You know, it was always really tricky to try to do country tracks for people or anything in, you know, kind of in that style or using those sounds and do them authentically, because there's so many specific instruments that you hear, like the banjo, like the dobro, that you just kind of have to own one, otherwise you don't have access to the sound. So, So the ability to just pick up one instrument, do a pass on telly, create a new track, flip over to some kind of a resonator. You know, you can play it with a slide if you set up the action correctly. Mine is set up a little bit lower for traditional playing, but you can absolutely, I've heard guys do slide on this, and when you combine that with the resonator sounds and the alternate tuning options, it really sounds, you know, you would be hard pressed to hear it, you know, over a pair of headphones or something recorded elsewhere and say, okay, this is a real dobro, this is a Variax, you know, which is which kind of a thing. I think a lot of players would be surprised that they would be really hard pressed to tell which is the real instrument. Now, obviously, playing it is a bit of a different experience, and that's going to turn some people off. But for somebody like me, where I'm not primarily a guitar player, I don't primarily work with these instruments, but I do need the textures sometimes, and I can play guitars, so, you know, instead of having to go out and buy tens of thousands of dollars worth of guitars and have a place to put all of them, keep all of them safe, keep all of them tuned up, humidified, strings on all of them, I can just have this one great quality, easy to play instrument, and just with the simple change of a knob, go from that to an acoustic 12 string, and then to go from that to, you know, a rolled off 335, and then to a Rickenbacker electric 12-string, a sitar guitar, all this stuff at your fingertips. It's mind-boggling. I use it constantly, and for anybody, especially people who do similar work to what I do, anybody looking for this kind of a solution, if you find yourself needing a lot of different timbres in your creative process, I cannot recommend this instrument highly enough. So thank you guys so much for watching. Again, my name is Alex Scott with Consordini.com. What do you guys think of the Variax? Have you ever used one? Have you ever played one? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Do you think it's cheesy? Do you think it's brilliant like I do? Let us know in the comments down below. We would love to hear from you. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next video.